Okay, hi, welcome everybody. For those of you that I don't know, my name is Sarah Balascio and I am a board certified art therapist at the Wellness Center here from my home, tuning in for a Drawing for Wellness class we're gonna do today. I wanted to also highlight my pup, Betty. I'm gonna try to highlight her in each video we do. Let's see if she can get on. Betty, can you say hi to our friends? Okay, all right, I'll let her out now. Go ahead, girl. You might have seen I did a knitting for wellness video, and she was in that too. I'm trying to highlight her on each one, but we made, we did finger knitting, and you can find that is stored on the YouTube. So if you want, that's also a great one to do with your family members. All you need is yarn, and then this is going to be recorded, just so people know, but only my voice will be recorded for this. So let me read what they'd like us shared here. In order to make these classes as freely accessible as possible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of each class. Now, this is usually for the yoga and athletic classes. I don't think this is too dangerous, but I'll keep reading. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you have moved nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you're participating in a yoga class or a class that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William and Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. Okay, so that is the waiver kind of information we need at the start. So can people hopefully see my desk area? Okay, good. So I'm gonna show it to you first, this exercise we're gonna do, and then we can do one together. How does that sound? So that you can see, I'm gonna use a black magic marker. I feel like it would be easier to see for the audience out there. But basically all you need is a piece of paper, pencil, or markers, or I even have with me, these are just my kiddos' markers or their colored pencils. So you don't need anything fancy. And I wanted to start by talking a little bit about art therapy. For those of you that don't know, it's not about having any sort of, masterpiece. It's more about how art feels for you, about self-expression, and especially in times like this, it's a really good way to practice mindfulness, to lower blood pressure, calm yourself, express, and I think we find ourselves all feeling a little maybe trapped right now, and so it's a really good way to kind of get out of that and feel like you're doing something something outside of yourself, because a lot of times when you start to draw, you go into like almost like a fantasy, or the opposite. You're very, very focused on the here and now. You're not thinking about, oh my gosh, how long will this last? Worrying about family members and everything that's been so intense through this time. I also wanted to say, hopefully lots of us have these supplies at home. Some of them, even as basic as, with crayons and pencil, is really all you need to make art. And I just encourage people to dive in and to not use that judgmental stance that a lot of us have. A lot of times in art therapy, we make stuff and we just throw it out. We don't even keep it. Or you make something and it doesn't have to be realistic. That's another great thing. So drawing, what I'm going to show you today, this is a really well-known in the art therapy field exercise. It's called a scribble drawing. So I'm gonna do one for you first, and then we'll do them together, okay? So trying to think if there's anything else I have to say. Was there questions about anything I said so far? I guess you can give me a thumbs up or okay, good. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the black marker. Can people see, is this good placement? Okay, so I'm gonna use a black marker, and what I'm gonna do, so all you need is paper and pencil, and I'll start first, and then you all can, we'll do an exercise together. So all you're gonna do is take a black marker or a pencil, something without color to start. And you place your marker wherever you like. So watch me first. Let's not do it yet, okay? Place your marker anywhere you want on the paper. And then you're gonna close your eyes and make any sort of scribble. Okay, trying not to go off the paper and onto your table. Now, I wanted to say, I know there were someone in the room that had 2 people, or if you want to do this with a family member, another fun way is to just look at your paper and make a scribble and then swap it with your other person you're working with. But since we're theoretically here doing this alone, you're going to make a scribble. So this is my scribble I happen to make with my eyes closed. Okay, and what you're going to do is turn it in all different directions. You can look at it from any way. And you're going to add lines to it to make it into something realistic. Now, when I add the extra lines, I like to do that with pencil because then it really highlights what my original line was. And so this is a really fun exercise in just how you start, because people say, what should I draw? Or I don't know what to draw, or I can't draw. And this is a fun way to get really out of our heads. So I'm going to show you some of my examples. I'll show you a few different options we can do here. And I want to say one caveat, no snakes and no oceans. Everybody always picks those 2, so challenge yourself. Okay, so let's see. Let me look at mine for a minute from here, and I want to show mine again. And you guys can feel free to write in the little chat if you know how to do the chat. What are some ideas you have for me? You tell me. I'm going to hold it out. I said no snakes. See, this one's definitely a snake, but no snakes. What could it turn into? Ooh, I think this way, it could maybe be a head and a body and maybe like a fishing pole or something. Oh, people are chatting. Let's see. Oh, this is fun. People are writing neat things. A wavy piece of grass, someone dancing. Hold on, how do you go up? Oh, I see. Okay, these are really great. I want to read a yo-yo. Good one. Oh, I guess everyone should mute themselves was earlier advice. Sorry. Okay, but let me read down these. A yo-yo, cool one. Someone dancing. A wavy piece of grass, a dancing person with their arm lifted, an octopus, more dancers, child's pose, Maddie. Oh my goodness, cool, child's pose and yoga, yarn, very creative. Okay, so let me see what I'm gonna turn it into. Those are good advice, but I wanna try to make it something myself. So I'll turn it a variety of ways. Let's see, I like the octopus idea. Who suggested that? That was a good one. I'm gonna go with an octopus. Now, another tip I have, I am not an amazing drawer. I am an art therapist, so I use a variety of mediums. Now, I'm gonna give you another tip of what I like to do is, so say I went with octopus. A lot of times I'll go on my phone or computer and I'm gonna enter in octopus drawing. And just for inspiration, I find an image to go from. So here goes. Can you all see me as I draw? Okay. So maybe some eyes. Really channeling my Bob Ross here. When I was a kid, I used to love to pretend to host shows. Not anymore. I like to, this is a little more challenging for me now, but I'm just happy to be able to do this and provide this space, but I don't really like to be the center of attention like this. I should probably channel my inner child and go back to when I used to like have these pretend shows and like talk to myself. Okay, so I'm adding some of the little suctions now. And so okay, so then I've started, you can see, I hope you can see it on the screen there, the difference of the black line and the pencil. Okay, so then what you could do next is, and it's just a quick drawing, you could take, you know, any one of your mediums, colored pencils or marker, oil pastel, and you can now then create a background or give this object, whatever it is, a some sort of background or home, or maybe your scene already started with a whole, you know, maybe it was a whole scene, it doesn't have to be, but for this then I can add a background. Okay, so now we're going to try it together. Okay, so if everybody can grab a blank piece of paper. Okay, make sure you have some kind of surface to work on. And if you can, start with that black pen, because I think it's really fun to highlight what the original looked like, okay? So we're gonna try this together. Grab that black pen, or even just try to maybe like a darker pencil or something, or make your line very harsh. Also, no cheating, you can't erase, no snakes, and no waves. Got it, people? Okay, so, all right, what we're gonna do is, again, we'll start with a deep breath. Okay, close your eyes. Place your marker anywhere on the paper, okay? Give it a wave or a spiky line or a straight line, whatever that is. So go ahead and start your line and stop. Okay. No cheating. I am seeing people in the gallery view. Okay, so now mine turned out to be wavy, but let's try this again. Something different. What do people see in this one? Go ahead and write in the chat if you see anything. And of course, it can be changed all different directions. Mine looks pretty similar. I should have done more different from last time. A pig's curly tail. I love that one. Fun. Okay, so now everybody go ahead and place yours on the table that you did, and you can turn it all different directions. Turn it vertically, turn it horizontally, and just take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to stare at it. Again, this is a real mindfulness exercise in that we're just taking 10 minutes or so, I'm sorry, 2 minutes or so to just look at it deeply. And what does this line look like and what could it become? Okay. So let's see on mine. And then when you've found something, you can go ahead and start by adding those pencil lines or a slightly lighter line. So if people want to watch mine, you can, or focus on yours. Ooh, I think I found one. So this exercise is fabulous because it's just a fun way to give yourself some inspiration and to get started being creative. I think I'm going to turn mine into so I don't know if you can see, but I'm going to turn mine into some balloons. Okay, and you could create a whole scene behind that. And so what we'll do is draw together for a little bit. And then at the end, if I will stop the recording, and if people would like to, you can share what your line looked like and what you turned it into. And so now would also be a really great time for people, if you like. When I have my art therapy sessions at William & Mary, we normally play some really relaxing music in the background. You know, so you could do something like that. Light a candle. Any of these kind of soothing things for, you know, this hour or whenever you're taking your break, okay? It's really interesting, all the different options that you can come up with just from one squiggly line. And you can try it with your family tonight. Maybe, you know, before or after dinner, and just everyone grab a paper and make some kind of quick squiggle, and then pass it to your neighbor, pass it to the next person at the table, and they've got to turn it into something. So. And something that I like people to always take note of is that, and eventually I will stop talking, but is that when you're drawing, notice how you feel at the start, right? And then at the end, and just realizing that, wow, all I did was some drawing for a half an hour, and gee, I feel better, you know, I feel calmer, I feel grounded. I feel like I got distracted for a little bit. I got away from my worries or things like that. And adding color is a whole nother fun element. And maybe you just make this drawing just for today, just to have fun. It's not a masterpiece that gets hung in the house, but it's more just something that helped you today in some way. I know for me, drawing is just very soothing. But a lot of times it's hard to get started, or we feel like it has to look perfect or something like that. So this is kind of just a fun, quick way to make some art. And if you don't like it, you just do it again. But I would love to see if people did it with their family or anyone tonight as a fun exercise. This is a good one for people that are like really resistant to doing art or drawing. A lot of times I hear as an art therapist, people say, oh my gosh, I can't do art. I'm not an artist. My art teacher said such and such and such, or my elementary teacher said you didn't color in the lines and things like that. And I just am just not a believer in that. First of all, art doesn't have to be perfect. Secondly, anyone can be an artist. You know, all it takes is practice, just like we practice other things, like we, maybe practice a certain sport or practice, learning a language or whatever we're studying in school. And so the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more comfortable you feel. So yeah, I say color outside the lines. And so what if it looks not perfect? Start over. Or even just the act of making something just to make it. And then you don't keep it. That's okay. It's interesting how this, social distancing and this time of everyone being at home has really, there's been a real uptake, I think, in a lot of arts and crafts and kind of old school things, or like cooking. People are cooking a lot. And I think it says a lot that the arts and these kinds of crafts with your hands are really healing. So and we're so fortunate to have this avenue to be able to still kind of be together while just making art on your own. And if you like this, what we're doing today at the Wellness Center, I run groups like this regularly. Be back in the fall for faculty, and also for students regularly. And kind of like each week there's a different theme or a different medium that we focus on. And everybody's welcome. What sort of mediums are people using for colors? You can just write it in the chat. I'm using my kids' colored pencils. What are other people using? Maybe markers or pastels, or I guess just whatever we have at home. Colored pencils, me too. Markers, colored pens, fancy. Colored pencils, nice. You took your brother's colored pencils. I appreciate that. Sharpie, fun. Markers, neat. I wanted to say, someone told me yesterday in one of my art therapy groups that Michael's, I believe Michael's, someone said, is doing, crayons. I love crayons. Oh, yay. I love that you have a family member with you doing colored pencils. If you do have a person with you, it'd be fun after this. You could try the alternative way that I said, where you look at your paper and make a scribble and then give it to the other person and they have to do something with that. But sorry, getting back to what I was saying, was that someone in one of my groups yesterday said that Michael's is doing the curbside pickup. So, so that's kind of neat if you do, get into art during this time, and you can, and still get some supplies from them. I'm sure you can order things too, of course, but, so let me show you where my drawing has gotten to. So my black line, I think hopefully you can see, it started here, waved, looped, went down, and I turned it into some fun balloons. So maybe this could even turn into like a card for someone, or maybe you just make it and then that's it. It served its purpose, right? That half an hour you spent drawing or whatever you did. So we're going to keep drawing for a little bit, but I am going to, in a few minutes, turn the recording off, because I would love for the group to share in a few minutes what you turned your line into. But I would like to say that we're going to be doing this every Wednesday at this time. So each week I'll have a new exercise or something to do, and it'll run like this where we record it, you know, so other people can do it, and then we won't record it when we kind of share and talk together as a group at the end, because that's generally how art therapy groups are structured, is that you kind of introduce something, you do some art making, and then at the end you share, if you like. No pressure at all. But it is fun to see, especially with this, like what people's squiggles can turn into. So with that said, every Wednesday I'll be here. I'm going to try to start with my dog Betty. I think she really is loving being on camera too. With that said, thank you everybody, and I'll stop the recording now, but I'm going to still be here.